Welcome back to October Top 5. I'm Walter Benasiak, and today we once again ask, are you afraid of the dark? It's worst episodes? Last week's episode featured the best of our favorite 90s Nickelodeon spooky series. So, are there any bad episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark? The answer? A few. As stated last week, this series holds up surprisingly well. Some stuff is dated, of course, but overall, it's just a well-made TV show. Out of 91 episodes, there's going to be a few installments that aren't up to snuff with the rest of them, and there are a couple that are pretty crappy. Which ones, you ask? Submitted for the approval of the Channel Awesome Society. I call this countdown the top 5 worst Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes. Number 5, The Tale of the Unexpected Visitor from Season 5. This is kind of an alien abduction story, and it has some pretty cool visuals, so it's not all bad. Kiki tells the tale of Jeff and Perch, who dream of one day being professional musicians. When Jeff tries to use his father's satellite system network to get tickets or something to see their favorite band, Perch messes with the system and sends out a series of tones to random coordinates in space. Later, Jeff's little brother goes missing, and they slowly realize aliens have arrived on Earth from the coordinates Perch sent the tones to. So, this band they're trying to see. Wait, Bret Hart and Razor Ramon were in a band called World War IV? Well, say hello to the bad guys. I bet they're the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. So we gotta talk about Perch.
Unpuking believable.
If there was one character from this show that represented everything stereotypical about the 90s, it's this kid.
We are not toys, lady. We are people. Extreme. Whoa!
Perch and Jeff also sing a song at the end about not being toys. It's a plot point, but it's awful.
That's rock!
Aside from Perch, this episode does offer up some interesting set pieces. Otherwise, it's pretty boring. I was dozing off both times I watched it. Extreme, bro! Number 4, The Tale of the Manaha from Season 5. There's some funny stuff in this episode, but ultimately, the story doesn't work very well. Tucker tells the tale of an eager and resourceful young camper named Jonah who is constantly demeaned by his counselor Lonnie. Jonah's group heads into the woods with Lonnie for their first real campout. Soon, Jonah discovers a cave with paintings on the wall, and a shaman appears, warning him to leave the woods, as he has released flesh-eating monsters called the Manaha. Jonah's fellow campers don't believe him, so it's up to the capable young outdoorsman to stop the Manaha before they capture his whole group. Like I said, there is some enjoyment in this episode, mostly because of the camp counselor Lonnie.
How to Survive in the Bush by Oscar Butts!
In relation to Seymour Butts?
Who's Seymour Butts?
Nobody's seen more butts than you, Uncle Tony.
The main kid, Jonah, is likable enough, but I'm not sure if that's because he's naturally that way or because everyone around him is a total jerk or stupid. He's got quite a scream, though. Still not as good as... So eventually, the kid beats the Manaha by just not believing in them.
I'm not afraid. I don't think you're real. And if you're not real, you can't hurt me.
Makes about as much sense as this segue. Number 3, The Tale of the Full Moon from Season 2. Now we're starting to get into the just plain bad episodes. Frank tells the tale of a pet detective named Jed who starts suspecting a werewolf lives in his neighborhood. Much to his chagrin, he finds out his mother is dating that same neighbor. He then sets out to prove his case by breaking into Mr. Anker's house while he and Jed's mom are out on a date. The Tale of the Full Moon is very clunky and makes some weird random stylistic choices. Jed's mom has some out-of-place 50s motif going on, and I don't know why. Basically, what this episode comes down to is that
I'm a boy, and a boy's supposed to have a dog.
this kid also apparently has superhuman strength because he does this. Overall, it was just pretty lame and just a slog to get through for the most part. Number 2, The Tale of the Virtual Pets from Season 6. Virtual Pets, remember those? I had a sumo wrestler one. Weird. Vange tells the tale of Kate, who isn't big on computers while everyone around her is very tech savvy. One by one, her classmates start acting very strange and are desperately trying to get her to play with a virtual pet called a digger. She soon finds out that the pets are a part of an evil computer program who is replacing all her friends with computerized copies. This is definitely one of the most dated episodes of the show. Unlike the Season 4 episode, The Tale of the Renegade Virus, this doesn't do anything fun or scary with the concept of a computer takeover. The villain is a picture of a dog that repeatedly says,
"Feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me."
This girl getting digitized isn't even enjoyably awkward.
Progress report, please.
Things are proceeding according to plan.
The girl playing Kate in this episode was the lead in one of my favorite Goosebumps two-parters, The Ghost Next Door. Here, she gets to say things like,
Now that's a computer crash.
This was another snoozer and heavily dated itself with the whole computers are taking over our minds idea. Clearly they got that wrong. And the number 1 worst Are You Afraid of the Dark episode is The Tale of the Gruesome Gourmets from Season 6. Aside from a decently creepy dream sequence, this episode is just really bad. Megan tells the tale of brothers David and Tommy. Their mother is a landlord who rents out rooms, and new tenants move into their house named Mr. Pym and Mr. Collins. Through an odd set of circumstances, David and Tommy are led to believe that these new arrivals are cannibals and set out to prove it to their mother. There's one star of this episode, and his name is Chuck.
You ruined my paint job. I'm gonna burn you like toast.
Toast! Chuck really likes toast! He's like Biff from Back to the Future if he was even dumber.
I just found out it's gonna cost me $200 to fix my car.
$300 for a couple of dents? No, hey, that's bullshit.
That'll teach him to mess with my car. That'll teach him.
All we really needed was a manure scene. When the boys investigate their suspicious new tenants, it turns into a slapstick comedy, but not a funny one. Although this was at least a little entertaining. Spoilers, like anyone cares. They end up not being cannibals. At least I don't think they are. The entire episode, Mr. Pym and Mr. Collins have been talking about their famous pineapple cider. They get a glowing endorsement from David and Tommy's mom near the end, and it reminded me of another blatant advertisement.
What's the deal with the cider?
Oh, you mean our famous pineapple cider?
I just bought some. It's delicious.
Why don't you let me fix you some of this new Mococo drink? All natural cocoa beans from the upper slopes of Mountain Nicaragua, no artificial sweeteners.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Oh, and Megan eats a tongue sandwich at the end. Yes, a sandwich made of tongues.
That's roast beef, right?
Not exactly.
Then what is it?
Well, it's tasty. It's meaty. It's tongue.
I don't know why that was in there either. Are You Afraid of the Dark didn't reach this low often at all. Honestly, most of the episodes are very enjoyable, and now that I'm older, I can appreciate some of the filmmaking techniques, sets, makeup, and effects. If you're looking to rewatch the show, just avoid these 5 and you'll be okay. So after watching this and Goosebumps back to back, I feel like I have a pretty strong perspective on the strengths and weaknesses of both shows, but which one is better? Go ahead and check out a new video on my personal channel where I present my thoughts on this question. I want to hear what you guys think. What is your least favorite episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? What do you want me to cover next in the show? Leave a comment and let me know. To stay in touch, like my Facebook page, facebook.com/awesomewalterb, and follow along on Twitter to take part in more polls about what may be covered in the future. Come back next week on Halloween for this year's final October Top 5.